Hello, everybody. Welcome to another fun episode of Lighten Up Zen Life. I'm here with my co-host, Nancy Bart. Everyone say hi to Nancy. Nancy, say hi to everyone.
Hello, everybody.
Nice to see you again. We had a little bit of a hiatus, and then we had some weather issues last night. It was raining a lot here in New York, so we had to postpone it over until tonight. So thank you for your patience. I hope everyone's doing very well. Our episode tonight is about allowing good things to happen for you. Nancy, would you like to kick off or start with us for the allowing nice things to happen to you?
Why don't you start?
Okay. I was actually feeling
Let's
like you
hear
were
what
gonna.
you have to say.
I was feeling like that was going to come. Um, um, when I was thinking about this subject, the first thing that came to mind was about manifestation and how we allow things to happen for us. And in my feeling about it, it's creating ways to support ourselves that allow us to have the wanted experience. And it is a choice of whether we are in love that allows us to experience the wanted or to be in fear, which will create a block between us and the wanted. So I think it's how do we be our own friend? How do we be our own support system? How do we allow ourselves to love ourselves and allow ourselves to build a bridge of trust between us and source, us and our higher power? So that's where I'd like to start with. Any response to that, Nance?
Well, everything that happens to us, and this is a hard sell sometimes for people, start with our own thoughts. And just like you mentioned, everything we desire and want is actually manifested in our mind, in our feelings. And so I don't think people really understand how important words and a lot of people that listen to you do, but to accept and allow things to happen for me, I do it every day. Now, either I do what I really, really want, or I'm doing the opposite of what I want. But it's an inner conversation. It's in our mind. It's an inner conversation that is the programmer. It's like if you think of our subconscious being a computer and having this vast, huge computer in our mind. It is a vast computer. It has all of our history. It has everything we've done. It houses a lot of everything that's happened to us and understanding and so on. But the inner conversation makes or breaks what's happening to me. And this is a very difficult thing for people to understand. So I guess I would start out with the main thing to do is become aware. And yesterday was the day before's thoughts. So what did I think today? I mean, what percentage of where are my thoughts? Where are my inner conversations to myself today? What am I thinking about today? What is really either I'm obsessing over or I'm thinking about it? And like you said, fear comes in because anytime there's separation, fear is involved in doubt and all this other stuff. So the inner conversation, we talk to ourselves, but our mind is always, we're a lot of times one of the biggest problems that we have is overthinking. And we think that we have to think. We were taught that, but of course, our mind needs to, think, but to some extent. But the inner conversation and how I feel about myself is going to have a lot to do with my inner conversation. If I'm upset about something, if I'm fearful of something, I will rehearse it and then rehearse it and rehearse it. And when I say I don't mean that I do it so much anymore. But I'm just speaking from my own personal experience.
I agree with that. Actually, one of the things I had a thought for you, and I had a um, thing to dovetail into that. I feel like you mentioned the importance of awareness, and in my own terminology, I'd call it mindful of interconnectedness. That whenever we feel something, um, what we want to respond with, whether something is going on, it's already a manifested thing, our response to it is whatever. Could be stress, could be anger, could be frustration, fear, whatever. Or on the positive side of things, it could be us being excited or looking forward to it. Whenever we're in the positive, where we're looking forward to something, we don't really ever shrink back from it because we're living in the spontaneity of what it means to feel and be in a place of love and ease and joy. But when we have those stressors, or maybe a doubt that arises, one of the things that I use to catch myself is mindfulness of my interconnectedness. And I'll say the words, now is next. And that reminds me that in the current moment, in the current moment, that I have power to create what's going to happen next. So that's my mini mantra. And Nancy, my thought for you was, when we use the word conviction and we say, like, in conviction, there is no doubt. Do you think that word conviction comes from ego, or do you think it comes from the heart, or could it be either or, depending?
Oh, no, because I don't use that word.
Oh, okay.
Use another word that means the same thing, and then maybe I can answer your question.
Commitment?
All right, commitment.
Or determination? Determination.
Again, we rehearse whatever it is. If I have a desire, it could be money, it could be a relationship, it could be my career goals, it could be many, many things, and so forth. To understand that I already have those things. Now, I know we've said this before, and it's redundant, but it's very true. Somewhere in the cosmos, in my own environment cosmos, there is already whatever my desire is already there. Otherwise, I wouldn't even have the desire for it. And along with that desire is also, oh my God, it's never worked before. I'm not worthy. I was told I was not going to be worthy. I was told this. Our belief systems is something that is, causes a lot of the problem. And we don't understand that the universe wants to give us this. Our spirit wants to give us this. So if that's what you mean by, intent, I use I because I only have the right to speak from my own experience, and everyone else has the right to believe whatever they want to. For me, I know that in a supernatural way, and that supernatural human, beyond, advanced to human way is for everybody. It really is not complicated. What is complicated is how I feel about myself. Do I feel worthy? Do I have blocks? Do I have, is this conversation, the mind is going to tell someone where their blocks are. Because if something happened, if somebody hurt your feelings or did something that was unfair or not right, it's going to rehearse you. You're going to rehearse and rehearse and rehearse, and you're going to lose, I don't know, maybe you'll lose a minute, maybe you'll lose days. Some people lose weeks on an issue. But whatever time is lost, like you were talking about the now, whatever time is lost is lost. And you have, like you're aware, to make choices, to have a different choice. Your choice is to connect to your high self and your spirit self, and to go inside your heart chakra and go inside and change it and realign it. And that's true for everybody. It's not just a few people. It's just not the chosen ones. And hopefully we'll get it so we can help people understand it and demonstrate it and teach it. But it's for everyone. And it's a very difficult concept. It's a very difficult concept to understand. I can have anything I want because we're taught the opposite. And then we were taught third dimension where, I can only, if I want money, I can only get it through work. I can only get it this way, or someone's got to give it to me or whatever. It's very difficult to really buy into the idea but the universe is your supplier, and it can bring whatever you need and want to you in a way that you never thought about. And that's, to me, where the gift is. One of the gratitude gifts for me would be that I may not know how to do that, but there's some other part of the universe and other parts of myself that are in higher levels know exactly how to do it and can arrange it in advance. There's so many things that, that you thought you were just thinking about someone and the phone rings, or you have, different situations and you find out, well, that seemed like a plan. I didn't plan this, but it happened perfectly. And then there's things that we think about and so forth and program our demise.
Right.
We have, one thing after another. This is never going to happen. I never have anything. I'm broke. I don't have enough money to pay my bills. Well, in that experience, that's probably something that's happened, and you're very familiar with that. You know what it's like when you don't pay your bills and you get the notices, and you worry about, oh, that's coming up again, and I gotta have enough money. It takes over our whole position. But fear is unfortunately, fear is a very strong emotion. And when you have fear, you're automatically going to have doubt. When you have doubt, that's doubt, I can't do it. It's not going to happen. I won't have it. I'm going to get in trouble again. I'm going to lose something. Fear comes from a lot of fear of loss. So you have this whole negative dynamic, and it's backed up by the third dimension. And it's backed up by the unfortunate false energies, the energies who talk to us and so on. It's backed up. You get plenty of backup when it's negative, plenty of it. And yet, when it's on the unseen and it's yet to happen, because you got to have emotions, you got to have, I believe it, and in order to manifest, you've got to know. First of all, you got to you don't have to know detail wise, but you have to get a sense to know what you want to manifest. And it could be career goals. It could be my financial life. It could be my relationships that are love, peace, and harmony and well-being. That I'm going to be, not in the future, but I have, and they're going to get better and better by every moment. You have to be in the moment. That's where all of it exists. And this is hard. And I do believe that Earth and our universe and so on, I think now we're moving into another dimension. The shift is another dimension, and we're in the astral plane of the fourth dimension, coming into that astral plane fourth dimension, and still having the third dimension affect us. But the fourth dimension is the unseen, and it's difficult before your senses see and hear and actually feel, the financial benefits or the love benefits, the intimacy or whatever anybody's looking for. Before it actually does that, we have to, in order to manifest it, we have to match it. We have to match the answer, not the problem. Matching the problem is easy. We manifest that all the time. We go over and over and over it, and we make more and more and more of it, and we keep going on in a cycle and a circle and so on, and get it over and over again. That's the easy part. The harder part should be the easy part, and that is to know that I can have whatever I need and whatever I want. And to match, I'm a magnet, and to match that up, then I have to be in alignment with what that magnet wants. And I have to be a magnet that's going to draw it. And I can't draw it if I'm in that negativity.
I agree. And I feel like we're 14 minutes in, Nancy, and I already feel beyond uplifted. Like everything that you said was so perfect, so fluid, so it's accommodating. It hits home. It speaks about everything. Like I'm grateful that I have that recorded. That's how I feel right now. It's so true, everything that you said. And I was thinking about all the things that I had learned with you. When we say have to, I was thinking, you earlier you had mentioned the words that we use. And sometimes it's it is the words that we use, but sometimes what also contributes to the situation are the thoughts we think that we may or may not be aware of. And that's where I was thinking about have to. I have to get blah, blah. And that have to is like a decoding, like the underbelly of it is a lack state. I have to go do this, so this, that, the other happens, meaning there's a feeling of not having it. So that's why you're saying I have to. Or safe. The word safe has duality laced into it because you want this person to get home safe, but then you're also saying that there's something that you need to be safe from. And another piece of that is that when we're saying I have to, we're putting it on ourselves that we are the only thing. And this, I think, is a big one when it comes to allowing things to happen for ourselves, because we have to monitor, are we allowing, are we working in cooperation with the universe that has an ample, infinite amount of ways and opportunities that things can work out for us? Or are we only trying to take it on to and for ourselves and saying, I'm the one who is solely responsible, I have to have the answer? And I see in a lot of people that I've met or worked with in my classes, what happens is they say, I'm praying and I'm asking and I'm doing everything you're telling me to, but I still don't, feel blah, 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 blah. Or there's some kind of verbiage that comes with it that expresses where their interior feelings are. We can't fake it with the universe or with source, Christ consciousness. Our authentic self, our thoughts, our vibrations, our feelings are what is connecting us to the external factors of life. So even if we in some way have a thought place where we're saying, I'm allowing these things to happen for us, is there also a block place? And Nancy, actually, I realized yesterday, and I was sitting in the shower of wonders where I get my best intuitive messages. When you and I were talking about attracting attracting the car accident or attracting certain circumstances, and I realized that there was actually like an overlay feeling of like I was already feeling like I was so much responsible for so many aspects of my life. And then I started piecing that together with like I could see how this might compound in like universal energy. I could see how overall I had a lot of not necessarily alignment, but a feeling of responsibility or obligation to the people that I was serving at the time or the business that I was taking care of at the time. And I could see now how that feeling could have been a magnet. Can you give me some insight on what your feeling is on that?
Yeah, there's a lot. Again, this is not easy things. First of all, I wonder if many of your listeners that are listening and here are going to be listening in the future. If anybody, has anyone ever driven, I don't know what you're doing in New York, but here or in, other places, you can drive and it's like your subconscious drives and you don't even remember. Your mind is wandering off into some other place and you're thinking about something else and so on. And you get where you're going and you don't even know how you did that. In other words, you're in a subconscious level, but you're sleepwalking. People do a lot of sleepwalking. In other words, you go through and you're not paying attention what you're doing. You're not aware, which is what you were saying and so on. And you're not aware of what it is. Now, I think words are really interesting because we use the same words, and this is something it's interesting to me. The same words are used in the negative that are used in the positive of what you want. In other words, it could be money. It's the same word. I don't have money. I have a lot of money. It's not about words. And that's where people, I think, that are manifesting, sometimes we get caught up in the words. The words are details and define maybe what our desire is. But it's not about just words. It's how we use those words. It's how I feel about those words. It's about what my inner mind is. And do we have blocks? Yes, we do. And becoming aware. If I'm not manifesting what I want, it's because I'm trying to do it third dimension. I'm trying to do it from the outside. If outside I can see it and feel it, if I want it outside, if I have a great need for it, which I think almost everything anybody really desires and wants should be theirs anyway. And yes, there's a great need for it. And I don't know if need's the right word, a great want for it or whatever the case might be. I like that word better than need. But anyway, there's a great emphasis on what I want. It's because there's something in the astral plane waiting on me in the universe, waiting on me to want that strongly enough to magnify it and get it into the physical plane. And the reason it wants me to have it is because it's a win-win. When I'm happy, the world is better. If I'm happy, people around me are better. If I have everything working for me and coming to me that I need, we thought that was selfishness. No, it's not about selfishness. It is about that I am a creator and I'm fulfilling my life with something. If you manifest something and it doesn't work, let's say people, a person or something in your life, and it didn't work in the same way that you thought it would, you shouldn't manifest people anyway, but you manifest the relationships that are good. It's not maybe so good to ask for one person against their will, but if it's meant to be, or you can certainly manifest and have relationships get better in love, peace, and harmony and well-being. I mean, that's a good thing. But if you have this desire, then it's because there's a reason for it. And if it turns out to be the wrong decision, or it doesn't last forever, because there's nothing that time does with this. This is not about how long it takes. It's not about the timing of it. Things happen in time here, but it's not based on that. You can do a lot of things. You can do it. Sometimes it takes things for it to unfold, but time is not the big deal. Time and mind, TIME, MIND, are the same thing. So 5 minutes can seem like an hour can seem like 2 minutes. Depending on if I'm in pain, it can seem like a long time, and if I'm in happy, it seems like time just flies by. And people's lives are sleepwalking or flying by.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, the idea is not to lock ourselves into limitation. And the mind is already limited by its nature because it has to go from the past. So we use the past to decide what the future is going to be. Why would I want to repeat something that I didn't want in the past? Why do I want to repeat it? Wouldn't I want something different? Well, if you're going to go to different, then you got to create it. But you got to magnetize. You got to be a magnet. And that only takes thinking in words. Yes, words. But it's how you use those words. You've got to make it in the now, not in the future, not in the past. But you've got to say, I love how wealthy I am now. I love the wealth that just keeps coming to me from everywhere. There's a way to bring this conversation in, and it works. It actually works very well because it was designed by God to work that way.
I love it.
Inner. You can't manifest without being an inner lot. You have to be inner magnet that matches what you want.
You have to be an innie, not an outie.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's what's hard, because especially when we sleepwalk and we don't even realize, thoughts come in our mind. How many thoughts come in? I don't remember the number, but there's a large number of things that we're bombarded. Our soul is bombarded by every single second or every single minute, and just a multitude of things that it's coming at it. And then it chooses and selects certain things that it wants to pay attention to. We sleepwalk on a lot of things.
It's true.
But if you want to manifest something, you don't have to be doing it all day long. I mean, before you go to bed, use it in a very positive way. I love how good I feel. I love feeling good every day. I love being loved. I love being loved, adored, and appreciated. I love adore appreciating others. It feels good. It's fun. It's enjoyable. If you take your subconscious and you program that at night without the negative chatter going, you can have a lot of luck, that way. And you don't have to be a slave. I don't like being a slave to anything, so I don't want to make a slave work that I got to be, doing this. But if I do have to change inside. So if I start out just making the changes in my own feelings and my own self, I have to change inside to believe I am. If I say it often enough, if I feel it often enough, if I understand that it's mine to have anyway, if I can just understand that I don't have to come up with all the details, I can use God and I can use peace, harmony, source, wisdom of anything, and it's unlimited. One source is unlimited. The other source of the negativity is you have nothing to lose but everything to go to the high source, because the negative source you already know you're going to fail on that. You already know it's going to happen. It's going to go around in circles and circles and circles on the same thing. So what do I have to lose? I have everything to gain by learning a few inner side peace and harmony and well-being, and just do it as an experiment. Let me just try this and see if it works.
Abraham Hicks had that, where she taught, if you recite something in the morning, it'll set the tone for the day, and if you recite something at night, it'll set the tone for the next day. And I found that to be very helpful when I put it to work.
Yes, I like Abraham Hicks a lot.
I just want to catch you up because there's a little side conversation going on here. Not big, but just enough that I want you to be involved in. Val enjoys our subject. She says, when we introduced the topic for tonight, she goes, "Ooh, what a great topic." And then she's listening to us and she says, "Okay, I've listened to you. Okay, self, get it together here." And Denise says, "Val, right? I'm going through this right now." And Denise says, "I'm starting to be honest with people and I'm getting in trouble. LOL. Before I was such a people person that I never said anything." And she said, "Our thoughts and words are very powerful." She goes, "I'm practicing everything that I'm learning here, and it's opening me up in so many ways." And then she says, "I needed to hear this. Thank you, Nancy." So Val then emphasized also appreciating the tidbit of to be in the now moment. So I just wanted to include you in that conversation.
Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate that. All I have to do is become more aware of what I really, really want. And what is in my heart that I really want is an inner voice that knows how to program this so that I have, either instant or pretty quick responses to manifest. I'm a creator inside my heart level. If I go inside my heart level and I speak from my heart, then it should resonate with the universe, because that's where our souls are staying and that's where the high self is now. So if it's say, well, I need to see this, people that I only see, when I see it, I believe it kind of thing. Well, people can say whatever they want. I mean, speaking to people and being able to speak, your truth, as long as you don't have an expectation and as long as you are sharing rather than trying to convince or, try to make somebody believe something. It's about sharing, and the masters don't have to make things if you're in alignment, you don't have to make people believe. It's not your job. It's not my job to make people believe. It's our job to share. It's our job to demonstrate. It's our job to be happy. It's our job to feel good. It's our job to watch what percentage of my today, what percentage of my time was spent. What percent, literally, tell me a percent, Nancy, tell me to Nancy, what percent did I spend in negativity or in lack or in doubt or in lack of faith or whatever the case might be? And becoming aware of that is not to be thinking you're doing anything wrong. I mean, the whole world's doing it. It's not about doing anything wrong. It's about, but is that going to get me where I want to be? Is that actually going to help me? Is that an unlit candle that's going to light my candle? And so, okay, so what do I need to do to change it? Very simply, do the same thing, but do it the opposite way. I mean, whatever you're being negative about, if it's someone who hurt you or someone that did something, and you're going over and over and over and rehearsing, that person wasn't right. I'm mad. I'm angry. I'm this. I'm that. Or I don't want to be angry. I know I don't want to be angry. Then go into your heart chakra and ask to be happy. And it takes compassion. It takes understanding that people make mistakes. And if we have expectations that are, it's not logical. Well, a lot of things aren't logical. It depends on which logic you're using. Are you using your own logic of a belief system? Or are you in a logic of knowing? Are you in a logic of this or that or whatever? Being aware of whatever that is. But what percentage am I? This is not, when I say it's difficult, it's a difficult concept. It's not difficult to do because the universe, if you allow the universe to do it, if you let go of trying to control it all and do it in a limiting way and believe in having, people have faith. Everyone has faith. They're using faith. Everybody has faith. The problem is their faith is in negativity. I'm sure it's not going to work. I've been trying this all my life. It didn't help. I've lived this way. I'm just being me. I'm just being honest. No. Being honest is fine, but being honest in a negative way isn't going to get you what you want. And well, I've done this all my life and I need to keep, I'm going to stay and do the same thing. And well, we just shifted. We just now, not only did we shift to a new age, we now have shifted even into another dimension. So I don't know. I mean, people can do it the old way if they want, but it's not going to work if it's negative.
I agree with you. Again, even just listening to that, and something that I really love about you is that the almost trance-like state that you can put somebody into when they're listening to you. The times that you've prayed for me or prayed with me, there's such a strong empowerment that comes from you, where it's like I enjoy it. I enjoy being on the receiving end of it, because it instantly changes my life every time. And I think it's something that when we pray for ourselves, when we pray together, it's such a powerful experience to be able to bring that light in together, or to be with somebody who's bringing that light in alongside you. Does that make sense to you? Is that what I mean?
Teresa, if it weren't inside you already, if you didn't already know it, you wouldn't have recognized it.
Yeah, it's really nice. And I was thinking about it earlier.
All we need to do is be fine-tuned, and it can be from a personal experience that we have, an aha moment. It could be our spirit, our high self giving us. They give us hints all the time. They lead us down the path that works all the time. Now, whether we recognize it or not is awareness and consciousness. So, the bottom line is, for me, is love. Right. I have to love myself. I have to appreciate myself. I have to appreciate the mistakes I made, because they only get me to the better, I don't like making a whole bunch of mistakes just because they don't work. But it's not because I'm a bad person. Even if people made really bad mistakes, doesn't mean that breath breathes them the same way it breathes me.
Right. Nancy.
And that's what's so amazing to this gift of breath, is that it takes a snap of the finger. If God wanted to change everything and didn't want us to learn our lessons, or didn't go through a school like we're going through, or go through consciousness and understanding consciousness of what is not in order to understand what is, if that weren't the license of this computer program, then it would take a snap of the fingers for it to change everything. And the reason why, I figured out part of the reason why the reason why is because breath, it already has control. The source, light, dark has to bend to the light, especially in this age. It has to bend. It's a universal law. And because of the creator and the universal law and the strength of the light in God and, whatever anybody wants, source, the infinite, whatever anybody wants to call it, it has the breath. It controls the breath. And if I don't have breath, I'm not here. If I can't breathe, and people have respiratory problems. I mean, the breath is always under attack in one way, different ways. And the reason is because it's so powerful. Well, if it's powerful, if the negative energies think it's powerful and it wants to destroy breath and wants to get rid of or hurt people with breath problems, think what breath can do to heal it. If we just flip it.
Nancy, Val and Denise both have a commentary here. Val says, truth is a difficult concept. Truly getting into that mindset, negativity sometimes seeps in. And I think that you just answered this question with what you just said. Is there anything else that you would add to Val's commentary?
Yeah, I would say, Val, you can't do anything too far off the track because you become very aware. I mean, it's like walking a tightrope. You guys, you know that. It's like walking a tightrope. You become very aware. If something isn't in alignment, you're going to know it, and you're going to know it quickly.
Right.
And because you become aware of it and you know it, then I would guess that most of you ask for help from the higher fourth dimension in some way. You ask for the angels, you ask for your high self, you ask for guidance, you ask for something to help you pull out of that. And that's what this high fourth dimension does. I mean, we have going against in the fourth dimension, you've got the negative entities and the negative energies, the negative mindsets in the lower part of the fourth dimension. You've got all those, the chatter, you've got all the negativity that comes and knows your weaknesses and wants to just pop in there and make those even more, even stronger. Then you've got the next level, which is the AIs, the intelligence, the mechanical stuff, the technology, and all the AIs and all the robots and all this stuff. You've got the intelligence situation, and they can be amazing and information, but they do not have heart. They don't have the spirit. They'll never have the heart or the spirit. They'll have intelligence without heart. And depending on how they're programming, they can be programmed so that they stay healthy and helpful and so on. But it's whoever's programming it's going to determine what it happens. Or even now that they can change themselves. The intelligence is programmed so that they can reinvent themselves or grow from whatever the information comes to them or whatever happens, their experience. But the high fourth dimension are where all the masters. It's where the Christs are, the masters, the Buddhas, and all the higher beings, and including ourselves. We're in the high fourth dimension. We are positive, but we can see the negative. We can see the negative. We can see what's happening. They can see what's happening. And this is where most prayers go to. Be it Jesus or any of the huge energies that can help a person climb out of the wormhole, climb out of the third dimension, climb out of the box, climb out of the matrix, climb out of the suffering, climb out of that. That is where they are. There they can see the negative. Now on the next level, it doesn't see any negative. There's never been a negative thing that ever happened to you. There's never anything, no matter how bad everything was and how real it seemed and whatever lesson we learned from it, it does not recognize anything negative. It's a Christ energy. Only thing it recognizes is love, peace, harmony, and well-being. And it's being offered to us now. So everything that happens, every thought I have has right beside it a choice. I can either buy into it because I've bought into it before, or maybe I need more lessons. Or maybe it's just something I'm not aware of. Maybe I was sleepwalking, didn't pay attention to it. It's okay. But eventually you're going to make a change because you are who you are. And it's not something, it'll be, when you make that change, it's going to be easy for you because you're going to use something that really knows what it's talking about and what it's doing. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about your high self. So there's no way you're going to lose. And I don't think there's any way that anybody on this planet is going to lose in the long run. If you're here, the planet, I don't care how good, evil, what everybody thinks and their judgments of anyone and everyone, their behaviors are not good, maybe, or not good at all, or maybe very bad. But the spirit is in each person because it's in the breath. It's in the breath.
Val says, I love Nancy. She's so real.
I try.
And then we have a comment too from Denise where she was saying, today I was trying to protect my sister from someone, and I told her what this person had said. I was wrong because it hurt her. I cried all the way home because I hurt her. I should have just been quiet. And one thing that I would just want to mention before I hand that off to you, Nance, is that sometimes we do have to say, my feeling on it is that sometimes we do say things that hurt people, but it's not our, we'll call it, responsibility about what hurts that person. Sometimes it's a lesson for them to learn. If what you did came from a place of love, there may be a lesson in there for the both of you, as to the why. Why did you say it? And your intention was to protect her. Did that originate from a fear-based, something would happen if you didn't do it? But I just want to give you a little bit of peace of mind.
One of my questions would be, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No, it's okay.
One of the questions that would be the first thing I would ask, I would doing a reading for someone, or I would ask myself if it came up, did your sister ask you to be her protector? And did you check in with the higher selves, the higher God self, to find out what would be the best way? Could God protect her? Could her high self protect her? Could there be some way that she could be protected in a way that that would happen naturally or happen anyway? Or if you ask a person, do you want the truth? No. Do you want to know this knowledge one way or the other? But it's always going to be a difficult thing. It's very seldom do these things work out. It's the messenger gets shot.
Yes.
If you're willing to, one time my son he was a messenger. He was working in a call center, and there were many people older than him, but of course he was raised by me, so he might try to help, people and so on. And I told Brian then, I said, Brian, the truth is, you're coming from your heart, you're coming from a good, space that means well, but understand, the messenger gets shot. What happened? The person who saved someone else gets crucified. So, and I told Brian, I said, if you're not willing for the crucifixion, if you're not ready to, have people, the messenger get shot, don't do it. I would ask, and there's no right or wrong to this. I'm not saying anything was wrong by any means, but another point to this is, okay, did your sister need love and being held and comforted? Does she need you for that more than you're being a protector of giving her bad news? So, I mean, it's not that easy. It's complicated.
It is, and situations like that can be sticky. Denise says back to you, Nancy, I said it because she was going to help her again, and this person was talking about her in a way that she did not know about. And then she said, Nancy, you're so right. So she was.
And then if it's worth the crucifixion, and if it's worth the having her upset, first of all, Denise, your sister can handle bad news. She's like everyone else. She may not feel good about it, and this might be hurtful and it hurts your feelings, but that's part of her lesson too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that you did something wrong, but these are things to consider. If we're going to consider something, I mean, you know, uh, it's that's why there's two things I learned to do a long time ago, and I still do it. And one is what draws my attention. Now, there was an obvious reason why you overheard what was said, or there's an obvious reason why you became aware of it, or whatever the case might be, however it happened. So you heard something and you knew that your sister didn't know or didn't understand that this person's not the real friend, or this person's not really well healthy for your sister, or it's not a good match there. You found that out by being wherever it was that it was said, or whatever way you heard it. But at the same time, with that, whatever draws my attention, I pay attention to. And then I ask the higher level, how do I handle this? Or what do you want me to do with it? Many times, many times, I will get the answer to just pray for the highest good.
Mm-hmm.
Many times I will get the answer. If I see an accident and it draws my attention, like a car accident or somebody's accident or whatever, I do the same thing on Facebook. When something draws my attention, will you pray? I do. But I also, at the same time, ask, before I take a moment and do anything, I ask, what should I do here? How can I help here? What's the best way to handle this? And sometimes it's just a matter of asking for something nice to happen.
I agree. Denise says back to you, no, Nancy, she did not need my protection. I should have just kept quiet, but this person was bashing my sister to me.
I think maybe you did the right things, Denise. I don't know that that, again, I'm going back to what I told my son, Brian. If you're not, if it's going to bother you, you have to cry all the way home because you felt like you hurt her and you contributed to her more pain, and, other than just the pain that she was going, someone being disloyal to her. And then you felt disloyal that you told her this and that. If you're not willing, if it's too hard, that ask for something nice to happen for that person, it works magic. That same sentence, please God, let something nice happen for my sister in this situation, works very well. And if it's hard to be the voice that brings in bad news. Right. And it's hard to make those decisions of how I'm going to protect her or how I'm not going to protect her. And I don't think you made a mistake.
Well, Nancy, too, what is it, I want your take
but
on
I don't
this.
know that you were ready to handle the crucifixion.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is the hurt. So your sister could be hurt about the person, not hurt about you, or not hurt that you told her. You see what I mean? Like her sister could have been like, oh, it hurts that this person was saying these things to you. And then you're taking ownership of her hurt, saying, oh, she was hurt by what I told her. And now I've hurt her, and now I blame myself.
The only reason I'm interrupting, and we're talking about the same thing, words, that our conversation is tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, words can hurt. And whoever's saying the bad, the negative stuff and doing that, why are they doing that? Exactly. Why would they even do it?
Too.
Are they jealous? Are they upset? Are they this? Are they that? What was the point behind the person even saying it?
That's true.
And maybe it's better when you hear it, maybe it's better to ask the person who's going to do it rather than, the person who's being the recipient of it. And our lessons are to not take these things personally. People are going to do hurtful things. People are going to, all in the politics and all this politics that went on, all you had to do is even hint to something and people were all over the map on being angry and creating all kinds of problems. People want to fight. People want to do bad, do negative things. There's people that haven't changed yet to understanding that those negative words hurt someone, and why are they doing it?
Yes.
So I think you were put in a difficult situation. I think it's just a lesson, and I don't know that. But again, the rule of thumb for me is, have I developed myself to the point where I can say these things and not be upset with other people's reactions?
Mm.
And then am I wise enough to, why am I saying it? And what did I interpret this person correctly? Did they actually say that? So there's a lot of, at the moment, choices to be made during that time period.
Denise says back to you, Nancy, she's just mean. It's hard because this person is family too. But is that her behavior is mean and because of whatever, some kind of ego?
Did Denise say that she was mean?
She's just mean. It's hard because this person is family too, is what Denise
said.
Well,
then what did you, when you protected your sister by saying it, was she going to have some kind of relationship with this mean family member?
Yeah, she was going to help her.
All right. Wait a minute. Give me a second here. She was going to help her. What, Denise, maybe, you might, what was your sister's motive for helping her? And what kind of sacrifice would your sister had to make in order to help her? So maybe you did the right thing. Maybe you might have done the right thing, although war does not work. So, it's always a guessing job how to do it. Maybe it would have been, sis, I don't think that's a wise thing to do. But I don't know what your role is with your sister. So your sister, are you her protector? Are you here to give her family knowledge? If somebody says that, is that the thing that you do? And I wouldn't beat myself up too much for your reaction.
She said her sister. I wouldn't beat
myself up at all.
Her sister was going to give her a place to stay.
Okay, then you did the right thing. It's not for me to judge. I'm just saying I think I would have done the same thing.
Yes, you want to.
Because it was only been more and more problems, more and more. It's not for me to say what was, what you shouldn't have done. But I think I would have done something similar in some way because, I know you, sis, I know you, pace and lead. Sis, I know you want to help people and I know you want to help her, but she's probably not the person that you should be helping.
Agreed.
Something like that. But I don't think you did the wrong thing.
I agree. And I think these are important lessons in life. And this is where the realness comes.
This is where choices come in. And they're not always easy and you'll learn from them, But I don't think you should be beating yourself up. First of all, it's not going to help the situation.
True.
Second thing is, your sister being aware of, something she wasn't aware of, and she was living with someone is a pretty serious thing. So, giving a person that's to stay can, that's being that kind of way, doing that is going to be trouble for a while. So I don't think you did the wrong thing.
She says, Nancy, my sister let her stay before, and this person bashed her after she left. My sister has a good heart. I just didn't want to see her get hurt.
I agree. And I think under those circumstances, I would have made a similar choice.
Right. Yeah.
I may have just said it in a different way, same way or a different thing. But the fact that she was unaware, your sister's lesson is, don't sacrifice yourself.
Yes.
And being, peace at all costs doesn't work. And the cost would have been, I think, more grave than, good. It would have been bad, not so good. So I don't know. It's not for me to say what you should have done, but I may have done the same thing.
I agree. And just I appreciate you, Denise, for bringing your experience to us, because then we do have the opportunity to talk about something. All of these choices, every bit of exchange that Nancy and I provide or offer in these podcasts are how to apply the truth or love to our real life choices, like to address Val, even from earlier. Val, you were saying about how it's not always easy and sometimes the negative thoughts seep in. It's not okay. So if they seep in, okay, let it be.
Here's one, Denise, and whoever else is listening to this, and this is going to go beyond the conversation we're having about your sister from my perspective. If you stay to the behavior of the person, it's not judging as much. I mean, it's not as bad. So if you don't cream the person who's making the mistake by doing the negative thing, but you say their behavior is this. This is what, their behavior, they have a tendency to talk about people behind their back. If you stick to behavior rather than linking it to the person, then it can be a lot better.
I agree. Ryan just kicked in and said, from my personal experience, more often than not, the conversations we speak with people are best served to be spoken with our divine identity in faithful silence. Allow the sacred communication to enact its mystery. From personal experience, every time I withhold something from earthly communication and hold it in a sacred space, it resolves itself magically. When the vessel breaks, it tends to perpetuate.
I don't disagree. I mean, going to the source is the way that I handle things most of the time. So, I mean, again, I was just speaking from that particular situation, but no, we're not here to tell everybody the bad news. And again, if you're going to do that, if it's something it's going to happen, then I like to stick to the behavior, not the person.
Right. Agreed. And just, to me, it's about always coming back into alignment, even if we get a little off, like it's life, and this is a playground of life and the experience where we come and have the experience. So if we're in the process of doing something and then a little something external or internal kicks in, then we can just say, okay, that happened, and not take it so personally, and get back on the horse that, we're have the intention to, and then keep going.
And be careful who we're trying to, again, did she ask for protection? Did she want the protection? Did she ask your opinion? It depends on what she did. If she asked for your opinion, what do you think about my, so-and-so moving in, then, it makes a big difference in how it's been presented too.
Right. Well, it's also like, if she did move in and other things had come of that, then it's like, then the opposites could have been the case of, if you felt something or knew something, why didn't you tell me beforehand? People have different expectations from their loved ones.
And I agree with Ray too. Is it Ray?
Ryan.
I agree with Ryan too. I mean, most of the time, you don't want to be known as the bearer of bad news, and it's a difficult choice. I mean, sometimes it just depends on the circumstances, and I don't know that it's always a win-win. One way or another, it's a no-win.
Yeah, but
if you have to do that. But on the other hand, I don't know. I mean, again, that's the difference between saving and not saving, and we're not here as saviors to save people anymore.
Exactly that. And again, I think Nancy, every time I'm hard on myself, reminds me we're just having the experience, and to kind of realign to that love and forgiveness of self and forgiveness of other, or forgiveness over the situation. Just bring it into a lighter place and not be so heavy about it, because being heavy about it won't help you anyway.
And when you leave, and it's just like Ryan said, when you leave it to the higher level, it'll take care of it anyway.
Exactly that too.
So leaving it to the higher level and keeping it non-personal,
right.
And just allowing it, the highest good to take place is by far the best way to go if you can.
I agree with that, and that's definitely how you taught us, and it's worked every time. It wouldn't be 13 years in with you, Nancy, if what you taught didn't work. I just wanted to say to everyone, I appreciate you, and I know what I appreciate seeing is that in your own way, you are making an effort every day to do your best, to feel your best. You're taking the information that we're sharing with you, and you're implementing it into your life. And it makes me feel very glad that you are having positive experiences as the outcome of using the tools that Nancy offers and teaches, or the little tidbits of something that are said, whenever we come into a place of alignment, happiness, and well-being, we light up personally, but we also light up and impact others. And that, I think that's, when we're not putting the intention out there. We know we're not here to save, we're not here to protect, we're not here to be the martyr. But if there is an organic example of like how we represent what the true source is, true Christ consciousness is, it's lighting up and showing others that lighting up is possible. So you guys you're doing it, even when it feels a little, not as great as you want it to sometimes.
Agreed.
Well, Nancy, allowing. What have you learned about allowing? What are the important Nancyisms here before we decide to close out for the night?
Allowing. I would say that it gets a little bit more complicated into some of the male-female characteristics, and so on. Allowing means letting go. To me, I guess allowing would mean letting go of control and allowing the universe to give you the answer, the path, or the alignment.
Mm-hmm. I reference Abraham Hicks a lot, but it's because she's got so much great stuff. She said,
I like her. Actually, my friend Don, who was my good friend, he did pass away, but he had dinner at her house for a number of times, and I went, "Whoa! I didn't get asked to dinner."
Oh.
I went, "Whoa!"
Right?
He thought I was weird. I said, "You guys, I wasn't the one that was invited to Abraham Hicks."
That's so cool. Dinner. That's really
cool. That was pretty. We used to. He was very fortunate. I think that was a very neat thing happened to him.
I agree. What I like, and the reason why I bring her up again, is that she said the inspired path finds you. It's not something that, we look for the path, we look for it, and, we come up stumped again and again. But when we are moved in a way of doing something that makes us feel light, inspired, happy, joyful, the path finds us. And I feel like, to me, allowing is holding space for creating an openness towards and an ease, and just in conversations I've had with Nancy, anytime I feel stressed, fear, doubt, I get crunchy. My body gets crunchy. My mind gets crunchy. I'm just crunchy. But like when I enter into that space of allowing, okay, this is going to work out for me. Florence Scovel-Shinn is another great teacher. She says, where God makes a way where there seems to be no way. If you just know that the things you want are possible and they are created, there's so many different things that are the entirety of all the world. It's infinite. We live in an infinite, big, beautiful world. So if you've tried 5 or 10 things, it's not even a full drop in the bucket towards the things that you want. And maybe you don't necessarily know how to line up to your goals. But again, like Nancy, like Ryan, myself said, praying to your high self or asking, how do I get into alignment here? How do I, get myself to where I, allow something that's good for me to happen and get on, and where's my happiness? How do I get into happiness? What would make me happy to do right here, right now, that can allow me to pivot to the inspired path and just get into that really good creative space rather than the resistance.
Go into the heart. And if you want unlimited, accurate information that can come from the whole ocean instead of just a drop, then you go to source.
I love this. I love that you said that. The heart.
Well, it's true. I mean, it's true. It's I never wanted to do this by myself. I love the fact that source is in my breath. I love the fact that source can guide me. Like Ryan said, instead of taking charge of it, and letting it the higher source, which is why I said first, but he's right.
Absolutely.
It's one of those situations where you make a choice, but trying to control everything is not going to work. So going to something that has the freedom and all of the universal laws, and and being whole with everything, and every knows people backwards and forwards, every part of themselves. Going to a source that's right inside of us and right with us. Is the name of the game as far as I'm concerned.
Agreed. So Nancy said, Val says, Nancy, it has been a blessing that Teresa has this platform. I love it. And then Ryan says, bless up, Denise. I'd say if you care as much as you do for another, it's probably a mirror that there's an aspect of yourself that deserves the same attention.
Well, he's pretty smart, isn't he?
Yeah, he's good. He's got a lot of good points.
I like it.
And then Val says, oh my God, my little voice just said you will do this. So good stuff. This is a really beautiful high note to end this episode on. We're all very wise. We have it inside of us. It's in the heart. It's in the breath. We love you. Nancy, anything else before we decide to wrap this up?
No, I think, be happy.
Yes. What you taught me, what your teacher taught you. Go within, find yourself, be happy. That's good advice.
If something happens, then know that it's not permanent, and it can be, peace. The world will not come to peace before people become peaceful. Yeah. And that's inside you.
Yes. We're definitely all pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Well, it has been a wonderful episode 19. Thank you so much for all of this. We love you, and we will see you for episode 20 next Wednesday. Bye, everyone.